I've seen certainly worse pro days than what Drake Maye and Jaden Daniels did this week. I've seen better, but I've certainly seen worse.
Mm-hmm.
But that was where he was at, and I think he's now on McCarthy and Penix. I think a lot of people now are on Penix, which welcome to the bandwagon. But I do wonder.
I don't know how they jumped off after what he did against Texas in front of everybody.
I do wonder if so everybody's like, I know a lot of people watched because they streamed it. A lot of people watched Drake Maye's pro day on Thursday. And a lot of people watched Jaden Daniels.
Mm-hmm.
Do they like Penix because they think he's really good, or is he the only one they haven't seen miss throws? So that's why they're comfortable with him.
Mm-hmm.
Which one is it?
I think it's because he hadn't done anything wrong. It's kind of like the whole, a lot of guys, the longer you go without seeing them, out of sight, out of mind, automatically moves you up.
Right. Exactly.
We didn't see him do anything in the last 6 months, so he's got to be better than the guy we just saw miss a throw yesterday. It's next thing you know, Spencer Rattler's going to be creeping up into the top 15 because we haven't seen him yet.
He is. I don't know about top 15, but I'm starting to get asked about him as a second round pick.
Yeah.
And
out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly. Although, except the opposite happened for Drake Maye. His season wrapped up in December. He didn't play in the bowl game, no playoff.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels had at UNC ended their season a week early, so Jaden Daniels an extra game there. Obviously, we saw Michael Penix in the playoff. Think about it, if Michael Penix very well could have had the game he had against Texas.
And stopped.
And lost. No, he could have lost, and then we wouldn't have seen him against Washington, which I think is a valuable game as well. He'd be getting all the hype J.J. McCarthy's getting right now, I think.
Yeah, if Michael B hit the nail on the head, if Michael Penix would have did what he did against Texas, but lost in the shootout, they'd be arguing should they take him or Caleb Williams at number one.
Yep. The
way he finished the season, the way he played against Texas in front of everybody, people would be going crazy. You got to take this kid number one. If you're crazy if Chicago didn't take him number one, that would have been all the conversation. But we saw him lose the national championship game, and now all of a sudden, well, maybe he's a first-round pick.
And look, I think there's value in the national championship game, too. I mean, that Michigan defense is full of NFL players. That defense is why they won a national championship.
And they didn't have their running back. He got hurt the week before.
Right. So you factor everything in. You don't throw the Texas game out because of the national championship. You don't throw the national championship game out because of Texas. You look at the big picture, which I think people have to be reminded of. But that all being said, we're sitting here now. We're less than a month away, Cerrone. It certainly still feels like we got a while. We've still got, 1, 2, 3 more Thursdays and then the fourth Thursday will be draft day. So we've got a ways to go here, but it's also getting closer. Where are you sitting on the third overall pick? Where are you sitting on which quarterback you want?
I want Daniels.
Yep.
For a long time, I was thinking he was going to go number 2 to Washington. I started feeling that way the last couple weeks, like it was kind of a done deal. And the commander staff, they were there at that pro day. I mean, all I can go by is their body language. They were oohing and on and shaking their heads too, watching Drake Maye. So I would not be surprised if they snatched him at 2 either way. But I want Daniels, but I'd be cool. I'd be real cool if it was Drake Maye or Michael Penix. I just don't want them to move out of that spot. You got to take one of these guys and not wait around. But I'd be cool if it was Penix or Maye, but I want Jaden Daniels.
I still want Drake Maye because I think he's better for what they want to do. I would be perfectly happy with Jaden Daniels. Don't get me wrong. I think either one is a win. We've talked about this. By the narrowest of margins, I would take Drake Maye, but I'm with you. I don't think there's any room to trade down because I think Penix is going to go up there, and for whatever reason, J.J. McCarthy is going to go up there too. But I just look at some of those throws. I think there's the Drake Maye's ceiling, his floor versus ceiling has a lot to do with his footwork. And if there's one thing Alex Van Pelt has talked a ton about, and you've seen it in the guys he's worked with, it's footwork. Footwork. That's what he does. So if you're telling me they have essentially, I know they have a separate quarterbacks coach in T.C. McCartney, but essentially a quarterbacks coach in Alex Van Pelt who specializes in footwork, and you have a guy throwing the ball, like you said, Cerrone, the way he was throwing it, and his biggest issue is footwork, doesn't that make a ton of sense?
Yeah,
to put those two guys together. But I do also now feel like you said, I've been locked in on Jaden Daniels going second. Basically, when Washington hired Cliff Kingsbury as their offense coordinator, that for me was, okay, yep, Jaden Daniel. I already thought Jaden Daniels might go second, but that was when I was like, yep, that's the pick. He is Cliff Kingsbury's kind of quarterback. He plays a lot like a taller Kyler Murray, who obviously Cliff Kingsbury had success with in Arizona. Now I look at it and I'm like you said, that maybe Drake May's pro day, maybe people are putting too much stock into it. But I would understand why they're putting too much stock in it, and I could see it happen, right? Does Washington go to that pro day and come away and say, oh, the way he was throwing the ball, right? There was a picture, Evan Lazar tweeted this out, where it's Dan Quinn, who's the coach of the Commanders, right? Gerard Mayo, and Mac Brown, who is Drake May's college quarterbacks coach. And it's like, one of these guys is going to draft him. The one other thing I want to bring up here, and Ryan, if we have the clip. So I do wonder, again, if Drake May goes second now, but did Brian Kelly, the LSU head coach, let something slip about Jaden Daniels? See if you can catch this here. See if you notice something.
Okay.
He is going to be so committed to taking care of himself that you don't have to worry about size or he doesn't weigh enough. Lamar's done a pretty good job with his size. I think Mahomes, I wouldn't consider him a giant because he's going to get the ball out to the playmakers and make plays for Washington.
Oh, whoa. What was that?
For Washington.
Whoa.
For who?
For Washington.
Huh.
Whoa. Wait.
Did Brian Kelly just let something slip? So that I was locked in on Drake May to Drake May going second and flipping that back. But now I will bring this back. Remember last year at CJ Stroud's pro day? I forget who it was. It was the Panthers GM or coach or somebody went up to CJ Stroud and they were talking about how Stroud likes to play basketball. And he said, yeah, when you get to Charlotte, we'll find you a court. And everybody was like, oh, when you get to Charlotte. They had the same reaction we just did. Oh, what was that? So take that with a grain of salt. But
he should be in Charlotte playing basketball.
He should be, right. Well, they wish he was. Here's my point. Brian Kelly might just be hyping up his guy. He knows Caleb Williams going first overall. He may be hyping up his guy to go second. That may be all that is. I'm not going to lock that in. But I feel coming out, and this might be my biggest change from Pro Day week. Instead of how I view any of the prospects, I think my biggest change is just second overall pick is more open than maybe I thought it was. I thought that was a lock to be Jaden Daniels.
Same here. Yeah.
I'm not saying now it's a lock to be Drake May. I really don't know. I'm back to it's a coin flip at the second overall pick.
Yeah, I'm in complete agreement with you. I was staring at Kingsbury. I was staring at Dan Quinn, who was literally shoulder to shoulder with Gerard Mayo the entire throwing session.
Interesting.
They were standing right next to each other, right behind Drake May. And then Elliott Wolf took 2 steps forward. Then Alex Van Pelt took 2 steps forward. They were peeking at. They were getting a close look. And some of the throws they were making, you saw Dan Quinn look at Mayo. Like, dude, like, did you see? Like, they were enjoying what they were watching. Both of them were grinning, looking. And then soon as the last throw was over, they did a little interview, whatever. And the entire commander staff just ran out the building. Maybe they were going to get ready to watch the stuff with Penix, whatever it was, we'll stream it, whatever. But they were all locked in throw by throw. And I'm sitting there like, I don't think Daniels is a lock it too. I think they enjoyed what they saw. I mean, I could be completely wrong. It's my first pro day. I don't know how they normally react, but they looked like they were having a good time watching this kid. Or maybe their mindset was, we're in a good space. We're cool. Where we stand. We're going to walk out of this with a good quarterback. And maybe that was the whole mindset. But they were locked in watching Drake May throw that football.